Hi everyone. I'm Ryoko, a resident of the Animator Dormitory. We here at Animator Supporters are currently producing an original music video in an attempt to raise animators' low wages. Right now, dormitory residents, including myself and other seasoned animators, are just about to start working on key animation. I gather that many of you may be curious about what we do when making an anime, so I'll try and briefly illustrate the real work that goes into production. I'll also explain some jargon that we use on the job. I'll be touching on some technical topics, but I'll try to keep it as simple as possible so those who are uninitiated can still understand. If you have an interest in animation or anime production, definitely watch till the end. What's a storyboard? Since this is our first episode, let's talk about storyboards, which are always made before key or in-between animation. Storyboards are a kind of blueprint that describes the overall flow of a project and are created before any animation is done. This is the actual storyboard we created as a layout for a music video. Since we're working on a music video, the storyboard is a bit different from what you'd see with a regular TV anime, but most storyboards follow this basic structure. I'll further explain the differences between TV, anime, and music video storyboards later, as well as the unique production process we've adopted for this project. There's a lot to unpack here. Let's take things in order. The number in the far left is called the cut number, a number assigned to a cut, giving it a name and making it easier to work with. Without a cut number, you'd have to say things like, in that scene, in that area, in that fashion, which results in ambiguous direction. So, attaching a number to every cut makes them easier to manage. They're very important for that reason. The drawings in the middle are pictorial representations of the content of each cut. These are the basis for the layout and drawing process. Written on the right side are stage directions, called togaki in Japanese. Togaki are written explanations of what's happening in the cut. They're very important for supplementing movements and information that can't be conveyed through illustrations alone, and getting the overall vision across. These togaki are often carried over to the scripts used by the voice actors in your standard anime with characters in a storyline. When voice actors record lines for an anime, assuming the animation isn't finished yet, they'll read from the script and act it out while imagining the scene. Material may be referenced much later in the pipeline like this, so we try to explain textually as well as visually. This is why, although togaki may just seem like auxiliary exposition, it's actually very important information. In addition to this information, a storyboard for a TV anime will often contain the character's dialogue and the length of the scene using a measurement we call shaku in Japanese. The character's lines are typically written to the right of the illustration. The character's name will be circled, and under that will be their lines or the words that the character is saying. Shaku are written as numbers like 3 plus 0 or 1 plus 12. It's a term used in the animation industry that mainly describes time. If a 1 is written, that would simply mean 1 second. You might think then that 1 plus 12 would be 13, but actually, this would mean 1 second plus 0.5 seconds. The reason 12 becomes a 0.5 here has to do with frame rate. Movies and almost all animation play in a quick, continuous succession of 24 frames displayed as images every 1 second. We say these films are developed at 24 frames per second. Going back to the 1 plus 12 example I gave earlier, this plus 12 doesn't mean 12 seconds, but 12 illustrations. Since there are 24 frames in 1 second, 12 frames would be half of a second. By the way, we sometimes refer to these 12 illustrations as 12 frames or 12 panels. If you hear things like frame 1 here or panel 4 there in conversation about anime, they're talking about images and illustrations in a stack of frames. In recent years, due to the extremely tight schedule of TV anime, shaku are often written in great detail when storyboarding. In some cases, those storyboards may use rather narrow values such as 1 plus 3. Having a detailed plan for each frame is critical, so we tend to be particularly specific in our descriptions, especially for something like an action scene. As a side note, if you look at storyboard collections by Hayao Miyazaki from Studio Ghibli, you'll find that some of his cuts are written in seconds rather than frames like 1, 1.5, 4.5, and 0.5. So, does Ghibli use less precise timescales than those in TV anime? That's hardly the case, of course. Look at Ghibli's or storyboards from other animated movies, and you'll often see them written in increments of about 0.5 seconds. This is because they're deliberately designed to be loose to give sufficient leeway to make minor adjustments in editing. When it comes to films and other work that demands a certain schedule and quality, shaku may be written liberally like this on purpose. Music video versus typical anime storyboards. A music video is what we're working on now. Though we draft storyboards when making a music video too, the way these storyboards are crafted varies from your standard movies and anime on TV. In the case of your typical anime, that is, the sort of TV anime or movie with characters, dialogue, and a developing plot, a script is prepared before anything else. The script includes stage directions or tagaki, what the characters are going to say, what kind of things the characters will be doing, and other relevant information. The next step in the process is for a storyboard artist to read the script and create the storyboard. In other words, there's already a script, so then a specialist has to figure out how to take the pre-written story and make it visual. That's who does the storyboard. On the other hand, in the case of a music video, they'll have to create visuals for music instead of a story. There will rarely be anything resembling a script. Sometimes, on projects such as music videos for specific, super major artists where a lot of money and people are involved, it's possible that diving straight into visuals may cause discrepancies with the work's image. In those cases, a tentative script may be made. After all parties involved agree on the vision and understanding of the piece in its text phase, they'll move on to the production of the visuals. However, this is only in the case of very major artists where the budget is considerably higher than average. Basically, in your typical music video, those creating the visuals will often bring their own ideas to the table. This is different from your typical anime. For this music video, we're leaving the story and contents of the project completely up to our visual creators. Unique processes for this project. As explained earlier, for a typical anime, the script will be made first, then the storyboard will be drawn following it. After that, depending on the schedule, a video storyboard will be made. This is a series of storyboard frames arranged according to their intended timings. For projects on a tight schedule, these video storyboards may also be used in post-recording. For this music video, we made a scripted video storyboard, or SV board for short, as an extra preliminary step to our video storyboard. We also made a text-based storyboard with words in place of drawings prior to making our regular storyboard, then visualized it accordingly. we bothered to include these extra steps for the advantage of making corrections and improvements with only text, while we sorted out the final content through trial and error. Since it's a music video, it's very important that it all harmonizes with the sound, more so than a regular anime. In addition, since there is no script or story to a music video, details such as the feeling of connection between cuts, images across cuts, and connections between objects and characters are essential. Since we can't use dialogue to explain, inserting meaning and comfort through what's seen on screen becomes critical. We decided that it would be too time-consuming to redraw every illustration with our trial and error approach, so we adopted this SV board structure. Once the SV board was completed, the next step was to illustrate an alignment with the text. The number of frames and such were rather set in stone in the SV board stage, so there we gradually adapted our drawings to the text. I say that as if it were easy, but while we certainly thought hard about the text, difficulties still arose. Illustrations that didn't turn out, or just things feeling off, for example. For this reason, we made many content changes and added a lot of cuts and such during this stage. We thought that scenes might conversely end up dull coming from the text stage, so we made a lot of cuts. Though, when we tried illustrating them, we realized that we could depict multiple cuts in a single illustration. Things like this happen that again conversely lower the amount of cuts in a project. Once the video storyboard was completed, we then worked on adding information from the storyboard to make it easier to understand, since various people will reference it. This would be the music video storyboard, so we added togaki and frame rate data which you would normally see on the storyboard. First, we added cut numbers to all relevant places in the storyboard, then put in time codes so the length or shaku of each cut could be understood. Furthermore, we added notes or togaki to the right side of the screen. You can see that it contains information about actions and other things that can't be understood through drawings alone. The value moving to the right of the cut number indicates the shaku or timescale. The moment it switches to a new cut, the value returns to 0. You can see that it displays the length of the cut, not the whole video. Written in the bottom left is the number of frames. In other words, it lets us know how many illustrations have passed from the start of the video to now by counting all the frames in the storyboard. In the bottom right is the time code. This is the total number of seconds in the video. The time code is displayed like this so we can rapidly access and reference information from the video as needed while drawing. What did you think? We went over storyboards and some of the techniques we're using to create our music video. I hope this helps any of you who are interested in anime production or art. Next time I'll talk about some storyboard terminology. I hope to see you there. Also, if there's anything that you don't understand or would like to understand further about anime production or this video, please leave a comment below. Thank you very much for watching until the end. We're currently holding a crowdfunding campaign for this project. For details about our campaign, please visit the link in the video description.